Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. So tonight let's talk about PayPal's new stablecoin, which came out this morning, PYUSD, and it shocked the world. People don't know enough about it. So I'm going to talk about things to watch out for. Not all is what it seems. So let's discuss this. And of course, let's discuss what's going on in Bitcoin and some XRP news. XRP has a new company. What's that about? Let's take a look. Welcome, guys. Let's see. Bitcoin is doing slightly better than this morning. You could see it dipped down and then, it came right back up above 29,000. So these days still pretty darn strong, but love to see it above 30,000. We'll see how this week goes. We have some big economic data that I already talked about this morning. But overall, I think it's still pretty stable. The overall market is pretty stagnant, and that's quite okay. You don't need to have so much volatility all the time. In fact, Bitcoin's volatility is at an all-time low, historic low. So something is brewing right now. That's for sure. The next leg up could be right around the corner. Now, what about this big thing about PayPal? PayPal, I've used PayPal for many years. Still do not trust them. And I still think they have that clause in their agreement, user agreement, that says they can fine you $2,500. Basically, if they think you're lying, I think that's still in there. But regardless, they came out with a stablecoin. It kind of caught everyone by surprise. Okay, it's issued by Paxos. Now PayPal said, "Hey, our stablecoin is better than everyone else because Paxos is a trust in New York, which means the New York Department of Financial Services is regulating Paxos and the new PayPal PYUSD stablecoin. So they are arguing it is better. It's more secure than USDT and USDC. Now, here's the thing. People don't realize this. Paxos has their own stablecoin. And you know what? Gemini also has GUSD, which is also from Paxos. So you can make the same argument that both of those stablecoins, and BUSD used to be Paxos too, both of those, has the same feature, right? So it's not really, they're kind of hiding the truth in terms of how this is better than everything else. It's not really. But because it's PayPal, absolutely huge financial giant, it's making headline news, right? But those of you guys that have sold anything online, have used PayPal in a merchant capacity, not from a user capacity, right? I think users are okay, but anyone that's ever used PayPal from a merchant perspective, meaning you ran a business or you sold things online, that PayPal is notorious for shutting your account down. They will lock your account, they will lock your funds, and they will not give it back to you because they are not a bank. They're not regulated like a bank. They don't have to operate like a bank. So I've gone through many periods where PayPal just shuts down my account, asked to do a credit check, asked for receipts and invoices, and been times where I had to wait up to 6 months before getting my money back. That's kind of how PayPal operates, right? They're kind of like the mob, the mafia. Anything goes, okay? Anything they say, anything goes, right? So it makes you wonder, what about their stable coin? Is it going to be just like that? Well, people looked at the code. And it is. It's basically like that. Okay, so it turns out PayPal's stablecoin is written in an extremely old version of Solidity. I'm not so sure. I'm not a programmer, but that doesn't sound good. There's probably vulnerabilities and stuff that's built in old version Solidity, but that's what it's built on. Allows owners to pause all transfers. Allow owners to freeze addresses to prevent actions. Also allows admins to increase the total supply at will. So basically, PayPal's new stablecoin is an extension of PayPal itself, right? No surprise. They will be able to shut you down no matter what. They can increase the supply anytime they want, but they can freeze addresses, they can prevent transfers, they can halt transfers. There's probably in there where they can actually retrieve and reverse transfers too, just like a normal PayPal transaction, right? So is it really like a crypto? No, right? It's a really, really centralized digital USD that basically they control in their platform. So just keep that in mind, okay? PayPal's notorious for being very ruthless at shutting down accounts and doing whatever they want. Now they have a stable coin. It's probably going to be more of the same. Okay, so before everyone jumps in and says, I'm going to get into PayPal's stable coin, think again. Okay, so just want to throw that out there. And also, for those of you guys that may be excited about, I don't know who's actually really excited. There's a lot of clones and copycats right now. They're all scam coins. Like PayPal coin was released today, and there's others that was released today, basically trying to mimic this. So hopefully none of you guys are FOMO in. I don't think it doesn't make a sense why you would FOMO into stable coins. Not like you go make money by buying into or FOMO into it. But there's a wave of counterfeit stuff that came out today, right? And if you get emails or you see stuff about airdropping and this and that, just be careful. Just be careful. None of that is real. Okay, so there's that. Wanted to share that right off the bat. Now, what about Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin is still the same. Like I said, historic. This morning I covered a couple of historic things, right? Historic squeeze that's coming up, low volatility, historic number of holders. And you know what else is historic that's coming up? Spot Bitcoin ETFs. That's coming. And Cathie Wood believes that the SEC will approve multiple ETFs at the same time. There's a deadline this week, the very first deadline for ARK's spot Bitcoin ETF. Maybe they're going to deny it or they're going to delay it. They can only delay it until January, right? But I do think if one gets approved, there's no reason why others won't be, right? And this will be historic, obviously, because in the U.S., we never had a Bitcoin spot ETF. And according to Cathie Wood, she believes $50 billion will be flowing in immediately upon approval, basically, okay, and issuance. So that's quite a lot, and that's right off the beginning. Imagine when we are in a parabolic run and FOMO hits and institutions wants to dump their trillions in. I mean, it's going to be massive, right? So this is also historic. Let's see what happens at the end of this week. Will we see something? Can the SEC surprise and shock everyone by approving the very first spot Bitcoin ETF? Probably not, but there's a small off chance that maybe it happens, right? That would be crazy. That would be absolutely crazy. But outside all the historic things, you guys know we're getting closer to having an event, right? And history doesn't repeat, but it tends to rhyme. And so far, it's just so similar. Every single halving event leading up to it, what happens afterwards is so similar, right? And that's why so many people are so bullish, and more people will be bullish in 2024 and 2025 when things get really, really exciting, right? So that's where we are. And then if you look at the HODL waves, right? I mean, basically, it's all good. It's all good. All the numbers are pointing upwards. Sometimes when you do that moving averages or you look at a cost average or the realized price, there'll be periods maybe it goes slightly under, but overall, if you're doing this long term, nothing has ever outperformed Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just the big daddy, right? So there's that. Now, other news, just a few other smaller news. Speaking of Coinbase, well, I didn't say, actually, I didn't cover Coinbase today. I don't know why I said that. But anyways, in terms of Coinbase and their coin and chain base, right, they will be doing a big launch basically in a couple of days, right? 1.5 day. and they're launching on-chain summer. So basically, Coinbase wants to spread the word about their base chain. It doesn't, it's based on ETH. It's a layer 2. It's forked from Optimism, right? But basically, they want to get a lot of project involved. Recently, some not so good things happened. Their very first DEX, I believe, got hacked, and then there's something else that was bad that happened, but overall, they're not off to a good start, but they want to change that. So we'll see how this goes. Look at all the brands below, right, that are signed up. They want to offer NFTs, and some just want to get in, right? So there's a lot that's going on, and we'll see how they do this summer. Uniswap also says that they will be jumping on, right? So Uniswap is expanding to base as well. And then also they're having some kind of grant system, 100 ETH, to incentivize projects to go on top of base and build, right? Overall, pretty darn good. But how does this help Coinbase? Right now, I don't know, because they're not fundraising. There's no token, right? So I'm guessing it's other things that's coming up. For example, fiat on-ramp, off-ramp, the use of USDC, which I'm sure is built on, base. I mean, there's probably a lot of side benefits that they're looking to benefit from, but there's no immediate benefits. Not like they own a new token that's go pump up to the moon. There's nothing like that. So we'll see. We'll see. That's pretty good overall. And also, lastly, it turns out that XRP has a new company. What's going on with that? Well, there's a new company called Centigrade, okay, created by XRP, and it's all about offsetting carbon. It's carbon credits, right? So ESG, people hate ESG, right? People hate talking about it, but that's what Centigrade is about. So according to Ripple, in collaboration with the RMI Rocky Mountain Institute, pioneer in sustainable investing, Ripple is excited to introduce a new company, Centigrade. Centigrade is an open data platform serving the global carbon and nature market, or nature. The platform will provide developers of carbon and nature credits with low barrier and intuitive way to bring the product to market, providing full data transparency and traceability for an entire life cycle of credits. It aims to open global credit markets to all carbon and nature developers, regardless of size and location, to boost availability of capital. Okay, so it has something to do with capital and nature markets. I don't quite get buying carbon credits and all that. I don't know what that's about. It just seems like buying carbon credits does not offset carbon pollution. Like it doesn't make sense to me, but I don't know. It just seems like that's what this is about. So I guess, is this good for Ripple? I don't actually know, but they have a new project out. Okay, I just thought I'd cover that. That's pretty much it. Today's an overall pretty quiet day. A little green. You can see the overall market cap up a little bit, 0.41%. The U.S. market actually did pretty well today, right? Kind of Dow 400 points. NASDAQ ended up in the green. But later this week, we'll have some economic data like CPI inflation data, jobless claims, and then also maybe we get a spot Bitcoin ETF approved this week. We'll see. All right, let's do some Q&A. Scrolling up, Tyler says, I think you're amazing. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate your support. Amp Night, greetings from San Diego. I love San Diego. Probably my favorite city in the United States. PayPal stole my money last year. Yeah, PayPal sucks. I mean, honestly, PayPal sucks. I try not to use it. There are situations where I have to, but I basically avoid PayPal altogether. And those of you guys that's been sellers on eBay, for so many years, basically you had to only use PayPal. But now, of course, they expanded. The company finally separated from eBay, so eBay accepts credit cards and debit cards and everything else, right? But PayPal for so long was so bad. Coinbase needs to add Gala 2. Yeah, it's surprising they still have not done anything with that. A lot of people got screwed because they left their Gala on Coinbase and they didn't know about not supporting V2. So it's kind of become worthless. So, yeah, I don't know. That was a weird move by Coinbase. I don't know why they didn't do it. Probably to please SEC or something like that. Is Gensler the one who has a final say over spot Bitcoin ETF? Yes, because spot ETFs are considered securities, so the SEC has jurisdiction. Now, futures-based ETFs are considered commodities, so the CFTC has, controls that, which is why we have already Bitcoin futures ETF. But spot ETF, yeah, unfortunately, Gary has to decide that. Man, very low turnout today. What's going on today? Anything special? Something else I'm not aware of? Or maybe people just don't care about PayPal. Yeah, these are days when it's time to chill, right? When there's a lot of volatility, there's panic or pumping, there's a lot of, fear or excitement, right? But, sometimes just low volatility, like right now, stable environment, lets things cool off, and also lets, cooler heads prevail. Also gives opportunity for people to DCA and look at to other projects that they may want to get involved with and stuff like that. But Bitcoin has been very stagnant for a very long time. Historic low volatility, which tends to basically what tends to follow it is explosive move upwards or downwards. But in this case, I think it's going to be upwards. So I think that's right around the corner. So just a matter of having some patience, some faith, and holding. Really, that's it. David says, I want to know who gave the one-man authority to decide anything. You talking about Gary? I guess that's Congress from a very, very, very long time ago. But Congress wants to change that now. How do I feel about paper wallets? They're fine. As long as you never lose that paper, as long as it never burns or gets wet and disintegrates, paper wallets are fine. It's really, if you think about it, everything is a paper wallet. No matter if you have a ledger or Trezor or a mobile phone, whatever, the most important thing is the recovery phrase, right? And they give you a little card to write the recovery phrase in. So if you think about it, it's really a paper wallet. Everything is really a paper wallet. I have not come across a device that actually safely secures your private key everything is just written down. So no matter how secure your hardware wallet is, it's only as secure as the private phrase and where you're storing that or what you're writing in. So basically, if you think about it, it's all paper wallets. Am I getting a Cybertruck? I have one on order. I'm waiting for it. It's supposed to come out Q3, Q4 this year. We'll see. Is my house going to be done by Thanksgiving? Yeah, I think it's going to be done late September. If I had to guess, late September, it should be. It's progressing pretty good. Stamp your keys in metal? Yes. I had a company come out to my Vegas event called Safe Seed, and they gave out a lot of these metal cards to stamp. Really nice. Really nice. Yeah, that protects you from, fire up to a certain degree, protects you from water, right? But you still have to safely secure that somewhere so no one could access it. I have 70,000 on PayPal. Now with stablecoin, I could buy a car with it. Regardless if it's in stablecoin or not, you could buy a car with that $70,000. So good for you. Good for you. Let's see. I think Hedera is doing pretty good today. Optimism. Let's see. What else? Nothing really. Nothing else from first page. I hardly go on the second page, but let's see. Singularity, AI play that's up today. Yeah, nothing else that really stands out. Can you explain why all ships will raise in the event that we get a Bitcoin SPY ETF, even though all coins will not be part of the ETFs? What do you mean all ships? You mean all coins? Well, because Bitcoin leads the way. When Bitcoin pumps, some of the profits, right, some of the money will flow into other coins. That's why when Bitcoin pumps, others tend to pump as well. And then plus, it's just enthusiasm all around. It doesn't mean it's a one-to-one ratio. There are times when Bitcoin goes up, let's say 10%, everything else goes up like 2%. It's not always the same ratio, but it definitely helps. Before, a lot of trading pairs was comprised of /BTC, right? And these days it's mostly stable coins, but there's still a lot of that, a lot of trading pairs that's with Bitcoin, but Bitcoin leads the way. The same thing in reverse. If Bitcoin dumps, everything else tends to dump too. Do I use Ledger Recover? No. That's the big controversy. If you use Ledger Recovery, then that means they have access to your private keys, right? The key thing about having a private key or a recovery phrase is it's yours. You should never give it out. So that's the controversy. I know a lot of newbies will think, oh, it's a pretty good recovery service, but it is and it isn't. And keep in mind, Ledger said if the authorities ask them for your keys, they will get it to them. So that's also down a big negative, I guess. Just get a safety deposit box and put it in there. That's what most people do. But Woody, you know, safety deposit box is not FDIC insured. I think most people don't know that. So if there's a big theft, if there's a big fire or something, right, your safety deposit box is not covered, right? So just keep that in mind. And also could be seized. So keep that in mind as well. But I think most people throw their valuables in a safe deposit box. But, you know, if you're trying to get away from the banks and you're still using the bank safety deposit boxes, I'm not so sure that's right. That's counterintuitive. Jose, what is the new CryptosRus Plus about? Well, I'm building that. You got to wait and see. I'm trying to set things in motion, get things ready. Then I'll be able to announce it later this week, and then I'll be able to release it next week. But it's crypto related for sure, and I think it's something that you guys will enjoy. It'll probably take time to get used to, but it's something definitely you guys will enjoy. Yes, Woody. How many BTC do you suggest one should have? There's no right or wrong answer to that. That's like saying, how much money do you suggest one to have? I think everyone should strive to have at least one, because one day Bitcoin will be $1 million plus. Then that makes you a millionaire just by holding one, right? But for many, that's not enough. If it's not enough, then go for 2, go for 5, go for 10, right? Keep going. A lot of people have DCA'd over time to get that one. A lot of people have DCA'd and now are on their second or third. So really depends on how much wealth you want to acquire. Haven, you could use a private safety deposit box. There's a few in every large city. They're never broken into, some even over 150 years. Yes, the chance is small. Obviously, for those, you got to pay a hefty price to own a safety deposit box. And it's very unlikely that something happens, right? But still, you never know. You never know. And then plus, you got to pay arm and leg for it, right? I guess it's worth it if you really want to secure like your private key that's worth billions, for example. But yeah, for normal people, they're not going to be doing that. Do I have any updates on Phantom? No, I have not heard anything ever since their hack. Haven't really heard much from them right now. 1 BTC is enough. Well, some would debate that's not enough. Some would say it is enough. I mean, Phantom for last month, not the greatest. Last month down about 15%. Last 7 days about the same. Last year's down about 38%. So in total, it's up 1,500%. But yeah, Phantom is still way off from its high of $3. Right? It has to go up more than 10x, like 12, 13x, to get back its previous high. Can they do it? Yes, but this hack certainly made it more difficult. So only 21 million can have 1 Bitcoin. Yes, in theory, but in reality, no, because a lot of people already hold way more than 1. A lot of miners do, a lot of early people do, a lot of institutions do. So even right now, if every millionaire on the planet tried to acquire 1 Bitcoin, they cannot. There's not enough to go around. There's only about 2.1 million floating around right now. So that's it. And it's only going to decrease from here on out. Gala or Magic? I've covered Magic before. Not too familiar with them. I still believe in Gala. I think their token economics isn't the greatest. You know, that's why they're weak. NFT market fell off a cliff. You know, there's no bottom. That's why they got weaker. Yeah, but overall, I think they're still in a good position. They will come up. So, still waiting for them to do that. Raj says, safety deposit box, go overseas, Dubai, Switzerland, Singapore. Switzerland used to be really good, but now the FBI can confiscate it, right? They can go into Swiss banks and take whatever they want. So I think they became less good, less protective now. Yeah, and let's not forget, a ton of Bitcoin has been lost over the years, right? Like, it's estimated as high as like 8 or 9 million. So roughly right now, 19.5 million. If you think like 7 or 8 million is lost, and there's 11 million circulating, and the number of long-term holders is up to 75%, and more are still getting in. So there's just not that many. There's not that many right now. Still golden opportunity, still cheap to buy in DCA long haul. In the future, when Bitcoin reaches, again, 69,000, and then eventually goes to 100,000, goes to 200,000, goes to 1 million someday, it's virtually impossible for anyone to buy a Bitcoin. It's just going to be way too expensive, and it's going to keep on going up as the supply diminishes more and more and more. It's the scarcest asset that we have. There's nothing that has a set supply like Bitcoin. Viral recaps, no. I don't know anything about the project, so I don't have any comments on it. Uniswap will be building a Moonbeam soon. That's good. Uniswap is expanding. They're multiple chains, and they're coming to Base as well, so they're all over the place. So Uniswap is trying to be the biggest DEX on all chains. So gold is not finite. There's gold in space. There's a lot of meteors that's full of gold. You can't find Bitcoin in space. Bitcoin is finite because it's set by code. Everything else you can find more of, or create more, or dig more, or find in space. You can find a lot of gold in space. You can't find Bitcoin in space. So, all right, guys, that is it. Overall, watch out for PayPal. You know, I've heard horrendous news in terms of, you know, how restrictive and how centralized they are. I've gone through some of that too. So this new stablecoin, you know, there's a lot of talk about it, but be careful. Who knows how they're going to treat it once they open it up. But, you know, Bitcoin ETFs, Bitcoin is still looking to move higher. So stay strong, stay focused, and there's a lot of good stuff coming in the space. All right? Have a good one. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.